My pack contents a little bit. Here's where the moms will get very bored. Although I do have a cami from Nordstrom's. It's silk, it's lightweight, it's very warm in the winter. I like it. It's keeps the skin wet. Now, these are my two backpacks right here. Now, this is the one I use most of the year. It's called a ULA Ohm, made by a company that started in a guy's garage out of Utah. It's a great pack. The pack alone weighs 1.5 pounds. And it'll hold a lot. I love this pack. It's kind of bare bones. I've got my cook kit. What I like the best about this pack is these big pockets on the side down here. That's my cook kit right there, as I'll show you in a little bit. That's kind of my go-to little cook kit. I got my alcohol fuel in there. When I say alcohol, I'm talking about, I use this stuff, it's heat. Yeah, you got to make sure you got heat in the yellow bottle. If you do that, I know that alcohol stoves are kind of a new thing in Scouts, and you have to have ones that are not made by you. Which I think is a good thing, because the ones made by well, let's just say I'm not a natural redhead. This is basically mentholated spirits, I believe they call it. And it burns really good, but alcohol burns really blue, and you can't see it in the daytime sometimes. And a lot of times when I'm out with hammock campers and a bunch of grown men, you smell a lot of burning arm hair. All right? So this pack alone, and I know a lot of you guys, what's cool about Scouts is you have these Scout Masters and Scout Masterettes. This is Scout ladies? I don't know, just Scout leaders! And right now you're kind of under their thumb. They're bringing you out there, and I'm sure your parents are buying you a backpack, and you know, your backpack might weigh 6 pounds, all right? Me, I'm lazy, I'm Irish. Now think about Irish people, man. Think about the way we dance. We only dance from the knees down. That's just because we're lazy. We don't have to get in a lot of stuff up here. We're speedy, all right? It's even like as I get older, I've learned to walk steady. You know, it's the turtle. You know, you kids are coming right out. You know, you're burned out 2 miles up the trail. And I'm coming back going, looks like you could use some cars! Doesn't matter how fast you go. What's important is that you go out there, all right? And so this is a great pack, 1.5 pounds. That should get applause right there. It's so comfortable. And it's not still nylon. You don't have to be that careful with this pack. I mean, the only thing they say is, you know, when you take a pack off like this, don't just be slinging it around by the strap. Although I do. It's a pretty tough pack. And I've got a lot of stuff in there right now. I've got a hammock, I've got a tarp, I've got my top quilt. I don't have my packs loaded like I would for a trip. I just thought I'd bring a lot of stuff to show you if that's cool. Now, Roger and myself and you know, Kevin and I don't know how many else, we tend to like hammocks, all right? Now, I'm not saying that everybody should have a hammock. If you like a tent, cool. If you're a tarp camper and like a bivy bag, cool. I don't care how you go. I'm not carrying your stuff, all right? I like a hammock because it re-stimulated my backpacking. It was probably about 10 years ago. I realized that I hadn't been backpacking in about 2 years yet. I'm going to have to ask you two to leave. You can just ignore all of us on the way out. There's a lady going, I didn't want to come in the first place. I still think the most important thing is getting out there. Now, some of you might be in Scouts right now, and maybe you don't love the backpacking part. You know, we had a couple of guys in our troop that didn't. But then when we got in college, a few of us got back together, and we go on our own. And you know, you're kind of doing a blend of stuff left over from Scouts. Got the old yucca pack. We'd have like a 2-burner Coleman oven on the back. You know, a whole pork butt in there. Seriously. You know, we smoked up and we bring it to the woods to eat on for 3 days, just going, I wonder if we'll vomit today. The thing was, you get out there, because we were in college and we realized, hey man, we're on our own now, we can go. Now I was lucky, my dad used to bring me camping, did a lot of it in Scouts, and at some point in your life, it's going to be your choice how you want to camp, all right? Some of you are going to continue it. Some of you out here at Scouts might be way more into the civic duties. You know, you want to be a team leader, and you know, somebody's got to run the county and know how the water works and all that. So there's a place for everybody, and some of us are better off in the woods. What happens when you're my age is you kind of run out of friends to camp with. You know, you get married, you have a job, you have children, you buy a house, you buy a boat that you don't need, that's just really a lawn ornament, and all of your friends are busy, and sometimes you go, I want to go camping, but I got nobody to go with. So I started going solo, and I loved it, you know, because I didn't get to do the Order of the Arrow thing, even though my scout troop you know, nominated me. I didn't have enough merits to do it. So I just said, I'll bring a candy bar and go to the woods by myself anyway. Ain't anybody shoving me down a hill. I stayed out there a week. Order of the Arrow, man, I call it Order of the Spear.
Javelin.
Now, this other pack is made by the same company. It's called the Catalyst. And you can see it's a little bit bigger. It's a 3.5-pound pack. You kind of see the size difference there. This is sort of my winter pack right here. Pretty much only use this in heavy winter when I'm going out, you know, 0 degree and below, with my hammock, you know, so as you got to do in winter, you know, a little bit extra fuel, a little bit of extra clothes, you know, your sleeping bag or your top quilt like we use in hammocks a lot, which is just a sleeping bag without a zipper. Gets a little puffier, a little bit more down, a little bit more stuff to wear. You know, you've got to think about your clothing system, your gloves, your feet, your head, your neck, your wrists, places that are exposed that can get you really cold. So, I'm just going to show you some stuff because I'm blabbering now, but I just got done juggling. Now, on hammocks, we use these underquilts underneath, and a lot of people just, let's just face it, you kids, you ain't going to be able to afford one. All right? Unless you've got a good paper route, you're mowing lawns, or if you're like me, you just go around with a box and just kind of go, I'm just begging. Because my dad said if I could raise half, he'd pay the other half, and I'm just being honest with you. If you give me $1, I'll be in the woods and out of your backyard. Work for me. That's your own choice there. Now, what our daughter does with us, she's learned to go, Mommy, Daddy, which when you get called Daddy, that's a warning sign. That she's asking for something, but she'll go, would you sponsor me? Sponsor! So if you got a parent that's on the fence, you go, Dad, you know, I've really been pulling those grades, you know, I'm making B-minuses. That was my line. And, you know, I've got that up from a D+, and I'm doing my chores, and I know you hate me hanging around, so if you could help sponsor me with a piece of equipment or a ULA pad. Remember that word, kids? Sponsor. It's a good one. Now, if you're in a hammock, you don't have an underquilt, pads still work. You know, I mean, I'm sure all of you have sleeping pads. Not like when we were scouts, we'd be laying out there in a couple of pieces. We'd be laying on the comic strips. It'd be 30 degrees in the Linville Gorge, and we're laying there, bring newspaper! You know, so I'd like fold 3 pieces. and you're laying in a sleeping bag that's like rated to 60 degrees, shivering through the night. And you didn't care, because you know why? Because you had the day, man, to romp in the mountains and be a scout. Lord of the Flies, take your shirt off and go spray yourself in mud. And get your chores done, you know, dig your grease pit, do a little training, everything you're supposed to do, be thrifty, clean, reverend, brave, honorable. Yeah, all that, you know it. May the laws pass. Now, a pad will do you. A lot of people will use, like, this is sort of just a windshield. People, you know, put them up in their windshields in the summertime to keep their car from baking. I just kind of cut it off in a neat little coffin shape. So, any kind of food pad you have, or a thermarest pad, all that stuff will work in there. I'm not going to get into comfort and all that. You know, it's not rocket science, it's camping. Okay? I think some people overthink it. I forgot my toothbrush. Really? Can you use a toothbrush? Maybe a cleaning it, you stick that payday in out, excavate that thing. So you guys had some Whoppers, perfect winter camping food right there. They don't freeze too hard, you can still get a little... This little item right here is called an SPE, a segmented pad extender, all right? And a lot of people, you know, if you want to come see it after the show, it's just a little deal that you can slip a camping pad into. And I made it myself. You know, I got a little bit of granny in me. I can run a machine. Or as we men like to call it, a thread injector. Think of a sewing machine as a power tool, and you're cool. All right? No different than a skill saw, anything else. You think weed whacking's manly? Thank you. All right, and then you just have some little pockets over here, and I just pretty much just taken some little foam, and they just sort of sit in there, and what those do is just kind of go up under your shoulder, and they insulate you in there, and you can get 2 pads in there, so if you want to go camping in, 10 degrees, 0 weather, 2 pads, a little bit of shivering, have a good meal before bed, have some hot water in there with you, drink a cocoa before you go to sleep, do some jumping jacks. You'll make it through the night. Like I always tell my wife and daughters, it's not like I'm going to die. I might be cold, but I'll never admit it. I just sleep great. Can't feel my feet, but everything's good. Very important thing, spoon. I don't like sporks. I don't like sporks. I like spoon, not spork, spoon. You might like a spork, I like a spoon. Okay? Because I don't like those little patterns through my Nutella. Do a lot more with a spoon. Get a corneal abrasion, you're good with a spoon. I've walked the whole day like that. Keeping that sun out of my eye. When I'd walked into a little pine tree and I was going, yeah, I like a spoon. But don't forget your spoon because your friend hates you going, dude, can I use your spoon? No, we got a guy called the Wild out there. Hold up your spoon, man. He carved him a spoon this weekend. Woo! Give it to his mama for Christmas. Look what I made you, mama.